Good evening. I'm really happy to start this amazing event. I am Domenico Di Siena and I am part of Volumes team. Let's introduce Volumes. Volumes is a global innovation laboratory committed to supporting the emergence of local ecosystems for positive impact. We do this through research, consulting, and training at any time in the field of social innovation, circular economy, sustainable food, and digital fabrication. Before we start, I would like to mention that this event is, of course, live. So I'm really happy to have you all here now, but is being recorded and will be then part of our Volumes podcast. So welcome to everyone now, and I would like also to welcome all the people that will listen to it through our podcast. Let's go. So this webinar is produced by Volume, but with a lot of people. So we are happy to collaborate with. So with Villa NGO, of course. Then we will discover a little bit more. CivicWise, Goodcom, Faro Italia platform, and of course the Potenza Picena City Council. This is also part of the initiative Villa Viva, selected to be part of the new European Bauhaus Festival. So what's bring us today here? So today we will try to answer this question, and I guess much more. So the question is, are rural and remote areas the future of Europe? Obviously, amazing question. We will see how all the panelists and the comments we will have about this. I guess also that the question is connected with real precise context, that is the Villa Buonaccorsi, which Francesco Cingolani will tell us about in a moment. And I would like also to remember that Villa Buonaccorsi is one of these local ecosystem that Volume is supporting. So we are starting, so don't worry. So the presentation is finishing. Just to remember you the structure. No, so we will start with Francesco Cingolani discovering what is Villa Buonaccorsi. So hello, Francesco. How are you?
Hello, fine. Speaking from a few meters from the Villa Buonaccorsi itself, so fine.
I hope the rain is not bad now for the.
No, the rain is fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, thanks. So then we will talk with Francesco Calzolai about cultural heritage and human capital. Hello, Francesco. How are you?
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So we are really happy. So thanks to confirm and stay here. So then we will talk with Cenk Dereli, that will talk about the power of creative communities from Turkey. So hello, Cenk, how are you?
I'm fine, Domenico. Thank you for inviting me. I'm quite far away from the villa, but in the same climate. Let's say quite far away.
I know that you are close by the heart. Yeah.
Exactly, and by the sea. There is a sea that connects us. Oh,
true.
The Mediterranean.
And thanks, Cenk. So, and then Maria Tomei will talk about engaging local communities for the re-evaluation of the territory. Hello, Maria.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm connecting from Canary Island, which is a ultra-peripheral region from Europe. So the rural maybe in some cases. So hello to everyone.
Thanks, Maria. So with Maria, we will finish the intervention, the panelists, and then we will open the round table. So I have some questions for all of them, but I will be also hearing from you comments and questions, so we can enrich the conversation. So now it's the moment. So let's start, Francesco. Let's discover more about the history of the villa.
Okay, thank you, Domenico. I'm sharing the screen and try to explain what is this incredible story, how we call it, of Villa Buonaccorsi, and why we think that is incredible. This project brings together, let's say, I represent several organizations in this project. Of course, Volume, which I am involved with, Domenico, our company based in Paris and active in Europe, but also the Ville Association, an NGO we created with other people, among which also Cenk, which he will speak later. So it's a project that connects very much my personal background, and because I was born a few meters away from the Villa Buonaccorsi, which is this property that you see in the picture, quite amazing, 5 hectares with more than 30 buildings. That was, since I was born, almost close to the public because it was in the hands of private companies, mostly with objective to speculate with, converting it into housing for, I don't know, tourists or rich people, etc. This is the story of this villa, and from a perspective of let's say, heritage and culture, within the villa there is a baroque garden that is one of the most important of the architectural history in Italy, which has been perfectly maintained, even if the villa was mostly closed for decades. But it was entertained it was mandatory to entertain it from the owners, the private companies that owned. So what happened is that at some point during the years, every time I was traveling back home to, I don't know, visit my family from Paris, where I lived most of my life, I was always, visiting the villa and trying to understand what we could do for this venue. And I wanted to help you to locate a little bit where we are in the geography, because this is in a very quite neglected area of Italy called Marche. Usually, when I say that I come from the Marche, outside of Italy, nobody knows about it. They used to ask if it's near Bologna or Florence, but even if it's quite neglected, this region, Marche, won 2 years ago the contest of Condé Nast Traveler as one of the 2 most important recommended location in the world to be visited. So it is quite a recognition. So I, of course, invite you to visit Marche, especially now that we have this story of the villa. So what happened is that 2 years ago, 2 years and a half ago, the villa, the company that owned the villa went bankrupt. So they were trying to convert part of it into private housing, but they went bankrupt. And this was the perfect moment for me, in which I started asking seriously to some friends around me, both locals and from countries far from Italy, like Turkey. Cenk is an example of those friends. I started asking if we should do something about it. Okay, the villa is incredible. It was closed. Now it's an auction sale. Should we try to avoid that another private company buy it for very low price and keep speculating on it? And so basically I gathered some friends and some family members, because my wife is part of the NGO of this group, some friends from the region, some friends that from other countries that maybe visited the villa and felt in love with it, or even that never visited but just wanted to run a project in such such location. And this is how the NGO Ville was born, that now represent and grow a community that goes beyond us as a founder. We are a group of around 30 or 40 active members in the community. So, and the main objective of this NGO was what we claimed is that we wanted to work to have this villa to become into the realm of common goods. And of course, since the beginning, this slide, I want to insist on this, that this slide is taken from the very first presentation of the NGO. When I started explaining those friends and colleagues what I had in mind, I was suggesting that the right scale for such a project, which is a huge one, is not the local scale, but the European scale. And we connected since the beginning with this idea of the new European Bauhaus. And this is why I'm quite happy that today that we are part of the program of the New European Bauhaus Festival. And this idea of the NGO started with the excuse of the auction sale, with different objectives in mind. Of course, at first we wanted to raise the awareness around this villa of local citizens, like, hey, do you know that this villa is an auction sale? Should we care about it? Should we do something? And then also we wanted to propose a tool, an organization to co-create what the future of this villa could look like. And this is an example, sorry, an image that I wanted to show, just to show, this is the villa that you can see on the right, and the yellow circle is where I was born. So it's like very, 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 very connected. But another reason why I wanted to be active on this project is that in the time when the villa was on auction sale, I was at the same time engaging with Volumes, my company, into a project called Centrino that is ongoing, a European research project that aims to reconvert a series of industrial heritage sites in Europe, in 9 cities, into new creative hub for local production and for communities. So these are the 9 pilot cities. And what we did in Centrino with this opportunity of the villa is that we basically added the villa as a bonus site in which we are now implementing and applying the strategy and the method that are provided, that are explored through this European project. Of course, with and this means bringing to this neglected area a lot of international partners that are active and experts in this field. And this Centrino project also allowed us to start working based on a framework that is this one that you see, in which we have some key concept on which we start working: circular economy, heritage, the notion of Fab City Hub, and also the importance of training and social inclusion in the activation of such sites. Something very important that is key to this session today is the importance that we gave in the last years of our research activities to the importance of rural areas. Because we tend to think that the future is written in big cities, but we think that remote areas have a huge role to play, especially in the upcoming years in Europe and in the world. So the notion of peripheral areas is on the table for our project, and our experimentation is now 2 or 3 years. And that's why the villa represent a very important, let's say, case for us. And because we think that these venues, these rural and remote areas can become sort of civic laboratories where we go to reinvent and rethink the future now of Europe, of society, and eventually also of the world. No. In that sense, we since the beginning we thought this initiative like a potential lighthouse of what the new European Bauhaus claim to become for Europe, to inspire the future of the generation of Europe. So the first thing we did is that we basically started a conversation with local municipality, like, hey, the villa is on action sale. Should we do something? What do you plan to do as a public authority in terms of the city council, the region, and also at some point the Ministry of Culture? And to gather this conversation and to facilitate it, what we did is that we wrote a manifesto of a potential future of the Villa Buonaccorsi, the way we could imagine this site. And this manifesto today is on our website. Everyone can sign and subscribe to it to support us. And it was very important because it allowed us to put together on a common agreement different voices that were there, the city council, the political party, the different political parties, etc. The manifesto has been something written on paper that we agreed, everyone agreed upon. And the manifesto has been recently officially adopted by the city council that now support this value intent principle that are part of the manifesto. Something else that we did as an example of our role to raise awareness around this villa, because people care about it, the locals care about it, but they had no voice. This was not evident, no. And so what we did is that we put in evidence something that was hidden. And a way to do it is we gathered and extracted from all the social media posts or, I don't know, public officer communications, documents, etc., some sentences. And we basically big printed them in a giant format. We rented space in the public space for advertisement. And we basically replaced the advertisement of, I don't know, supermarket or shoes with these giant phrases that expressed how people cared about the villa. And we wanted to make it visible, not to everyone. And then a big action that we did last year that was maybe the most important, that created a lot of attention, was the Villa Summer Camp. In the Villa Summer Camp, we gathered a lot of international experts around different topics in forms of workshop. So we worked around different topics such as civic engagement, regenerative tourism, technology for sustainable construction, circular economy, incubation, etc. And this attracted a lot of attention. Now the media went there. The mayor was present in the event. So this was like, hey, people care about the villa. Now we should do something about it. And after this, a few months after this, in October of 2021, we had this huge announcement that in collaboration, in a joint collaboration between the City Council, the region, and the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Culture decided to finally buy the villa and to make it public for the first time in its history, following, of course, this mobilization of different public authorities and also the local community of citizens. which is a good news, but it's not like people thought at the beginning, now we are good. It's not like now we are good, because now we have a much complex mission, which is make sure that this villa will become something that is in adequation with our value that are described in the manifesto. And this is a much bigger challenge than just simply have the Ministry of Culture to buy it. And for this new chapter, we are taking on a methodology that we call the content curation approach. So basically, we think to the villa as a series of container, and we think that we can gather their different contents, and we need to play a role of content curator now for this. So just to conclude, I want to give now an example of this content that we are developing with local citizens and international experts that could fill and feed into this container and into this approach of content creation. The first action that we are taking is the laboratory for the future of the villa, which is basically a weekly meeting open to everyone, that we are meeting in public space or in private spaces, as you can see in the picture, just to catalyze all these people and organizations in the area that want to collaborate with us and promote social innovation action on the territory. This is an example. And then we organize also walks to discover, public walks to discover the surrounding of the villa and the countryside, which is beautiful, by the way. And we are, of course, connecting with European networks through using especially volumes as a facilitator for this. And this is why we applied to integrate this webinar today and a public event that maybe will happen this Sunday, yeah, but it's a complex thing. So basically, yeah, we are also planning to organize a mini festival end of July. I know that Cenk will travel here to participate, and other people from Europe. And also we are working with the schools to create an educational program around the case of Villa Buonaccorsi, because outside of the heritage and cultural power of the villa, we also think that this story is also a perfect example of civic education and civic design for all the generation of young people that are in school today. And another track of another initiative that we are pushing is what we call the Food Lab, which basically means to use the villa as a hub to work on the future of food and agriculture in connection, again, with entrepreneurs, but also local organizations that are active in this field around the villa. And I want to conclude with a kind of joke that it's a picture that we just received a few minutes ago from the New European Baroque Festival in Bruxelles. One of our team is there to discuss the villa, and she sent us this slide, this picture that says the municipality is a multi-headed monster. You never know which head you are talking to. Why I want to conclude with this is because the challenge we are facing now, and I would like to maybe expand during the debate and the question with the experts and the attendees we have today, is that working in this kind of project where you meet, the region, the ministry, the city council, is very complex. So this is the challenge part, but also the very important learning that we can share with anyone today is that it is needed to have an organization that plays this role of connecting and facilitating the communication among different stakeholders. And even if it's challenging, we think that it's our main mission today. Yeah, that's something I think I would like to conclude. And of course, what we realize is that we need to connect with similar initiatives, and we know that they are in Europe, similar, initiative of, different sites that are abandoned or almost abandoned, that people want to reconvert, reactivate. So we are really looking forward to connect with you. And yeah, I hope that the conversation can start today, but of course we will follow up after this webinar. So Domenico,
Thanks
up
a
to
lot,
you now.
Thanks a lot, Francesco. Really clear, amazing story. I know I'm really close, so I know the story, but I guess for all the guests today, it's a really interesting story. So I remember the attendees that at the end of the presentations we have with the panelists, of course, we will be hearing from you any question, doubt also about the villa. So we will have a debate, but also maybe any clarification you want to know about this amazing story will be the opportunity. So let's go ahead. So now it's time for another Francesco. So it's time to, I would like to introduce you now again, Francesco Carzolaio from Faro Italia platform. So Francesco is an architect who has dedicated the last 20 years of his career to teaching and also research and design in the Venice Lagoon, and more generally to cultural networks between European and Mediterranean waterfronts. So he will talk about heritage, cultural heritage, about the platform Faro Italia, I guess, as well. So hello, Francesco. I let you start with your presentation.
Thank you for everybody. I'm glad to be here. Sad to be only virtual, but happy to give a humble contribution to this process that I follow and I like very much. I have a short PowerPoint. May I share my screen?
Yes, let's go ahead. You should be able to do.
Yes, let's see. Now you see it?
Yes.
Okay, now I have to start the presentation that is here. Look. Here, no. Sorry, I never, okay, I will do like this. You see enough, no, don't you?
In the top you have this icon with the...
This one?
Yes.
Okay. And I should close this. So thank you very much for inviting me. You nicely introduced me, and I went to Naples for an international conference about cultural management of the participatory processes, and was managed by many universities. One of them was the Department of Psychology, and especially they were psychology of community. And there, finally, after being so old, I discovered who I am, and I guess I am an architect of communities that has no recognition, and this is another reason because I am always edging between cultural fields. To go ahead, yeah. You know, Francesco already introduced the issue of Faro Convention that was signed in this little village of Portugal in 2005, and is the framework convention of the Council of Europe, the geographical Europe, that dedicated to the social value of the cultural heritage. So the makes some very interesting bridges, doesn't face the physical heritage only, but also the immaterial heritage. This is fundamental, like, you know, your quality, your human touch on the strategy is a value, is a content, is a matter that that should be enhanced in the process, because you are evaluating your value, human value, but also the historical one. And so the Faro Convention encourage to keep together, no, the material and the immaterial heritage, as should be. So we are not only devoted to maintain the void, our attic voids, our attic spaces, but also the soul, the people embodied in these bodies. And then the Faro Convention suggests participatory management of the cultural heritage. This is the key issue, where there is the connection between material and immaterial heritage, and where there is a participatory open process, there is the Faro Convention. The Faro Convention suggests two topics. One are the heritage walk, like the one you have done, like the one we hope we can do Sunday. I'm very happy it's still open, that opportunity. And we've done a lot, of course, in the years. And now during the end of September, in the days of cultural heritage for the Council of Europe, in Italy are done more than 120 heritage walk, and in Europe thousands. They are not a guided tour. They are a sequence of presentation of the meaning of this of the space, of the heritage, through the words of the testimonies. We have done, these images are on a fantastic experience done in Venice. But of course, we have done also in the Marche. I was very much intrigued after the earthquake to stress the Faro Convention, and it helped towards the communities devastated by the earthquake. We wanted to build a link between the community will enter in decades inside the rebuilt buildings, with to bridge this community in the future with the one who left the villages, because there will be a physical and separation between the two, and we need to transmit the human capital, the human values to the new communities. We can speak more about that, but I think that, of course, going back to this main strategy, the Faro Convention, of course, is not the only one. We have to work contemporary around the same table with the many international convention that are approved by Italy, that are the two main convention of the Council of Europe, the Cultural Itineraries one and the convention, the Faro Convention, and the main UNESCO convention, the one of the cultural diversity, and the other one on the immaterial heritage. Because of course, everybody who stress the issue of the enhancement of the cultural heritage is not alone. There is a huge story of professional, of communities dedicated to the same goal, and we have to be inclusive. We have to learn by them. We have to build a team, build a common strategy. So full of respect and being humble. So this is my task. You see the Italy 1 year ago signed finally the Faro Convention. So it now is a law of the state, and is the biggest and the first biggest country in Europe who signed it. Are 18. Between 20 the countries who signed the convention, and Italy is will be a sort of pioneer, as the responsibility to define a new strategy for the implementation of the Faro Convention. So the office of the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, together with the office in Italy, together with the Rete Faro Italia, the main network of the most historical heritage communities, gave to Faro Venezia, an association I am founder of, and me, because I built up the proposal that they approved to build this Faro Italia platform. That is, sorry,
Francesco, just to remember you that there is just 1 minute left. Sorry.
So very good. So I will go very fast on the issue. We are in the previous picture was about the ministry involved. Then we have a lot of actors on the field working on the same issues. We have a lot of professionals, and we establish a scheda, a form to be filled, and we are very glad that the Villa Buonaccorsi is part of this community. We want to polarize now there are 60 communities in Italy, and more than other 60 filling the forms, but we are now caring about what could link one cultural community to the other. So because we need to define thematic and the territorial networks, and exactly what Francesco told before, you know, how to link, and what is written in the presentation, how to link one place to another, one community to another, because this is a mutual, could be a better perform if we build a team among us. And this is exactly what is in very much explained in the form. And we are now building some community network where we hope the villa might find a network with similar situation in Italy, and we might help you to do this. So thank you very much. I am open to any question you would like to raise.
Thanks a lot, Francesco. I have to say that the Faro platform was an amazing discovery. Thanks to, I guess, was Valentina from the Ville NGO, I guess. I don't know if I'm wrong, but so we are really glad to have you walking in the same direction with us, because it's a huge a huge job. So as you said, this is really important to be inclusive and to meet and connect with other people that do the same. And it seems to me that you do a great job. So thanks a lot. So we go now to discover more with Cenk Dureli. With Cenk Dureli, another architect, leading the Nobon architecture firm, and also member of the Ville NGO. So from Izmir, Turkey. So hello, Cenk. I don't know if you have a presentation or you want to talk without it.
No, I don't have any presentation.
Perfect.
It will be more like a easy conversation with you, or a silent conversation with you all, but later on we can discuss all together. As you said, I'm an architect. PhD, I run my architecture practice, but at the same time, I had this background of academic studies, and they are mainly focused on creativity, everyday creativity in the city, and also the creative cities, terms like creative cities, basically. I'm so glad to met Francesco and Maria, the beautiful people that I didn't know until now, and hopefully we are going to meet more often after this. Francesco, the presentation was quite inspiring, as you said, Domenico. It's an amazing thing, and it will be a great row of, let's say, talks. After Francesco, I'm going to talk about the power of the creative community, but I want to rephrase that title, which will be more suitable with Francesco's presentation. I want to rephrase it like the power of communities' creativity, basically. Because most of the time when we talk about creative communities, it is hard to describe these quite mysterious, interesting people with have maybe superpowers, especially from the fields of design, who can come together, invent amazing things, invent lots of interesting ideas, and then continue their lives. And they tend to, in the case of rural areas, in our case, they tend to come to a location and try to teach to the community something like a superpower or something like that, or they tend to give some kind of educational seminars, or they want to teach methods, etc., etc. But the most interesting thing for me when it comes to the creativity and the community, it is the understanding of everyday values of the phenomenon that we call creativity. Because most of us, when we visit some, when we visit a place that we have never been, we see something quite excited and get quite excited, and we get quite surprised with something that we see and created by the regular citizens, especially in the cityscape. And this, interestingly, happens all along the Mediterranean more compared to the other parts of the, let's say, in the context of Europe, or let's say in the context of Mediterranean. So there is this value of everyday creativity if you really need to find out in the local scale. And it is an interesting phenomenon because creativity is mostly defined by a domain and the environment, and it's quite personal most of the time, and it's so site-specific or cultural, socio-economical, context-specific phenomenon. So it is quite difficult to come up with a, let's say, extremely general idea of provoking or, let's say, flourishing the creativity in the local context. So the most interesting thing for me also as an architect or a designer is to invent ways of, let's say, platforms, playgrounds, environments where people can feel inspired and also personally or in a communal context that they can get more creative. And creativity requires doing, for sure. So there is no abstract creativity. It must be at the end as a turn or transform into a fact or factual situation in the real world. So that can be a quite an interesting role for designers, I guess. So it is an interesting thing to step back a little bit from coming up creative, inspiring ideas and try to invent an environment for other people who have no background with designing, no background with, I don't know, let's say creative industries, etc., etc., to come up with creative solutions, creative ideas, or creative actions. That can be a quite interesting thing, because otherwise, especially in the local context, we are extremely globally connected for sure. So it becomes a trap for so-called creative community to end up in a local area as an alien and they were it is quite possible to someone to find him or herself preaching some kind of quite interesting ideas which are totally non-relevant in the local context. So it can be quite a big trap. So that's why finding those domains and finding that environment, it's an important, let's say, focal main titles for me to discuss the creativity in the community. As I mentioned, domains can change. Domains like whatever you focus on, it can be a lifelong journey that you explore during your lifetime by doing something. It can be a craft, it can be a profession, it can be anything. It depends on your personal background, it depends on your cultural social environment for sure. So it's quite a personal story, but then the environment itself is a collective story at the end. It is a collection of individual personal stories which end up the values or the qualities or non-qualities of a community at the end. So when we talk about a location, we mostly quite easily throw out some adjectives like oh, this is a quite creative space, this environment is like this city is like that, etc., etc. But mostly we are reinventing or again saying again and again some qualities at the end created by every individual person and turned into a collective memory. Of course, in the scale of the million inhabitant cities, it is extremely difficult to differentiate what are from what these values had been created. But in the smaller scale cities or villages or towns, it is much more interesting to try to understand from which personalities, from which people are all those titles or adjectives had been created all through the history, and how the heritage and the memory of the city had been created. It's quite an interesting thing. So in a way, whatever we tend to describe about the town, it is an extremely autobiographical story or content related to the people who are living there, and it is directly linked with their interaction of their own environment. Of course, that environment described as the economical and social environment, it is extremely affected by the politics, etc., etc. So that domain and the personal, let's say, preferences are quite individual oriented, and they can vary a lot. But then with the environment, we can interact. I mean, let's say, the designers who tend to have the role of provoking the communities or changing the environments in the way that we and the community together create an impact. So that's an interesting question. So in the case of Villa, for example, that built environment, which has its own story all around or throughout the history, starting from the 16th century, it ended up into as Francesco described it, it's in the hands of this multi-headed so-called monster, and there is these community want to get involved, and then there are these international creatives who want to come, and of course the local community has also some kind of imaginary related to the villa. So that can be quite an interesting question, how this environment, that physical environment, can turn into a space in which the community itself can explore its creativity, or a type of new local community-oriented creativity can be invented. So I just wanted to open up this kind of quite big question mark and leave it there until the end of the the seminar and the talk. Thank you for the opportunity.
Amazing, Cenk. Perfect in time, I have to say as well.
I have here a counter, and
okay.
that's
okay.
why.
So thanks a lot of food for thoughts. So I hope later we can continue the conversation. Please, also all the attendees, don't hesitate to share even your thoughts. So I can see some of them already. So I take advantage to say hello to Jorge that started the conversation before, where Carlota, who else? But a lot of people there. So I hope you can introduce yourself and tell a little bit about you and your comments. So thanks a lot. So let's continue. So we will finish now with the presentation with Maria Tomé. So yes, again, another architect. We should solve this, but this is what we have. So we invited also other person, but they can't join today. So finally, we have here all architects. Next time, I guess we can have more diversity. I have to say that also, in any case, the approach of each one is different. So I guess is valuable. So Maria from Canary Island. So the state. So Maria is part of the cooperative Oficina de Innovación Cívica, Civic Innovation Office, and part of the network CivicWise. I guess Maria will talk about the work they do connecting these communities that we are talking a lot today with the project that interests us in this conversation. Hello, Maria. So the stage is yours. So you can share your presentation.
Could you see my presentation?
Yes.
So if the stage is mine, I could start to dance, no? Which is something that we love a lot in CivicWise. I see in the chat some friends of CivicWise. Today's my turn, but I think this presentation could be done with other examples by other colleagues of the network. So guys, if you want to say something, for me will be a pleasure. So Domenico invited me to talk about engaging local communities. How difficult it is, because first of all, there is no one type of community. It's something that I want to say from the beginning, because we are, as a people, we are diverse. So it's something that, for example, right now, the feminism community is defending a lot. We are diverse, and we have to design and create solutions for all this diversity. It's something that I want to start with, because I think it's important. A ver si me deja ahora. Vale. Bueno, very fast. Okay, we are a cooperative of associated work. I think to say this is very important, because we are inside of the solidarity economy, which is something very important right now in Europe to promote this type of economy. And we do basically 4 types of strategic works, which are, first of all, city and territory. Second, community health and cares, which right now is something after the pandemic period, I think is something very understandable. Third of these things are citizen culture and networking. And the fourth thing is housing and community. So we are also a very proud part of the CivicWise network. The CivicWise network is basically the beginning of our company. So for us, the CivicWise network is something very, very important. We learn a lot, and we're still learning a lot from this network. And we are waiting until the next local camp. So if anyone in the global community of CivicWise wants to organize the global camp, for us will be a pleasure to move there, because we organized the global camp a few years ago, and come on, it's something super crazy and super beautiful. So as I said, now we creating in CivicWise, we're a global network, and we create this international meeting to talk about our profession, skills, and to create basically network, no? So basically in my company and also in CivicWise, we design for the community transformation, which is something that we are going to talk today. So this is something I read a few days ago, because a friend of all of us, I think, Alfonso, said to me, you have to read this sentence from Francesco Cingolani. So Francesco, I love this sentence. We are talking about this a lot. And I don't know if it was written precisely like this, but the idea was more or less this, no? How can we design better places to live by building less? I think this is the future right now of the urbanism and the architecture in the places where we live. And of course, in a rural context, I think this one has something to say, no, in relation. So I really love this sentence, and for me, it's a powerful idea. So engaging local communities. As I said at the beginning, engage is a very difficult thing that not all the time you could do it, but let me say the important thing is at least try to engage people. Not always you can do this, but the thing is start to share knowledge about how to improve the engagement movement in our projects, because I think it's very important, no? So the first thing is, what do we mean about local territories? In CivicWise and in Civic Innovation Office, we differentiate two types of relationships, affinity and proximity. This is something super important, because by local territories, we can talk about affinity and proximity. Affinity because, for example, we have similar interest or similar knowledge as, for example, the CivicWise community, or by proximity, because we are literally neighborhoods, no? So we used to connect by the affinity, but in this moment, we have to start to push a lot the proximity. So as I said, no, in the examples that I'm going to share, for example, CivicWise could represent the affinity part about local territories, and the other projects that I'm going to show very fast could represent the proximity, the neighborhood projects, no? So in this affinity part, local camp for us is very important, because we share the knowledge in how other people is doing the things in other territories. So for us, it's very important this. But this is an example, the Seed Factory Fest, that we made with the CivicWise community. Precisely, it was organized by CivicWise Valencia, where we joined the affinity part, creating a festival for city makers all around the world, but working with the local community of Valencia, which I think is very important. No, trying to engage the local community in Valencia, but sharing the knowledge of this space with the global community of citizen making. So I think it's a good example of engage the global community and the local community. Following the proximity example of engage people, this project, for example, is called ECO, and it's about how engage the proximity, the local community of an in Spain we call residencia de mayores. In English, I think is elderly residence. Sorry for the English, I don't know the specific translation, but it's where the old people sometimes goes to live the last days of their lives, and they take care of themselves. So the idea was try to improve the interdependence of these people and try to push the local and internal community of this space, no? So as I said, we are doing a lot of territory making, but not building nothing, which is something very powerful. Just building communities, because at the end builds a lot of the territory, as I said at the beginning. This is another example. We also do helps local communities to try to access to a decent house using the co-housing model. So they engage the local community and try to fight against the speculation in housing, for example, no? Another example is, for example, Mestura Puerto, trying to engage, again, the local community to build a better city. So the main idea of engage, how important is start to work with the population, with the neighbors, with the citizens, is this example. This is a project that we made years ago with the Civic West community. And we were basically trying to find with the community strategies to decontaminate the Atoyac River in Mexico. In Puebla, they have a very big problem with this river because it's toxic, literally. And the people think that the companies, the factories, and the textile and the textile companies has the problem with the river because they represent the 30% of the contamination. But the real thing, and this is why it's important to work with people, is that the contamination is created by the 70% of the local communities doing uncivil behaviors. So this is something very important. This is not to say to the companies that they have to be less less cooperation. I mean, the companies has a lot of problems, but we have to invite people to call for the action, you know, to say, okay, companies has a lot of things to do, but the civic innovation and to work with communities is also very important because, for example, in this example, the Atoyac River, the 70% of the toxic problem is made by the neighbors. So I think it's something very important. And to finish my presentation, basically engage communities means to change from this picture with a few people deciding how we have to live to turn into a lot of people deciding 1,000 times, a lot of people deciding 1,000 types ways to live. So this one means, again, to start to talk that we are not the same person, we are diverse, and we are not also coexistence with people, we are also coexistence with animals and ecosystems. So this is very important if we are talking about engage, and we have a very important responsibility in this. So basically another way to making things right now is possible, and the future is green, purple, and diverse. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, thanks, Maria. Also, again, perfect in time. So thanks, thanks a lot. Thanks to you all. I appreciate this. So it's you know, this long presentation. I mean, with several panelists could become really long, and I think we are really enjoying all of your presentation. I can see even with the comments we are having in the chat. So thanks a lot. So now we can start the part no, where we can debate a little bit more. I can see, I have to say that what we heard is a lot about, of course, heritage, about rural area. We heard a lot about the importance of communities, how engage this community, how creativity would be part of this. We could say also how important it is to connect different dots and different stakeholders in the same territory to achieve the result we expect and to revitalize, let's say, the rural area. I guess if we are here, it's because we think that rural area shouldn't be synonymous of something that is, you know, quiet and more light to the past, or just you know, place where you can rest and stay calm, etc. So we really understand that could be, as Francesco was mentioning at the beginning, even the engine for a new way to understand the territory, to connect the urban area with different communities that deploy differently in the territory. So said that, I would like to start with my first question. I insist to the attendees that you can also share your question. I can see one, and then I can read that one from Amin. But I will start with the first question. So will be an open question for you all. I will call again also Francesco Cingolani as well to come back also to the panel, to the round table. So basically, something that I have all the time in mind when we talk about, of course, rural area and heritage and talking about communities is the need for avoid this kind of approach that understands heritage or recovering something that was great in the past, or maybe I'm banalizing a little bit, but I want to facilitate really the debate. And what concerns me is that we can see a lot of time this static approach. No, we can see also this with the villa, no, in here. So this idea that you have something that is there, we should maintain, of course. We should open to the community, but then I feel that what we do and redo again is just thinking on what we can put inside just to keep this alive, and we don't really reintroduce this in the sense of the current life in the territory. So basically taking account also the last presentation, also with what Maria presented, how important is to connect those spaces with the community, but also change the approach and understand that we need to create something that is current, that is actual, no, that is happening now. So lie to social dynamics, economic dynamics, cultural dynamics that are really based on the present and face to the future. So my question is, how you think we can address the importance of this heritage, the rural areas, thinking on something that is, of course, taking in account the community and the engagement of the community, but for creating something that is really alive, that is really producing even something new, not only recovering what we had in the past. So what do you think are the key to address this with this approach? So being really in the present and towards the future. I don't know if it's clear, Francesco, maybe Cingolani, you want to start? I can see the hand.
Yeah, I mean, also this is very well connected for me with the other Francesco topic. But what I can say also, Mauricio on the chat is writing something like building bridge between history and innovative scenario. No? So first of all, what I want to say is that I really understand your concern, Domenico, and it is also my concern. By the way, just to give you an idea of how this is present, the first point of our manifesto is heritage of the past, but also potential for the future, no? Because what we really want is to bridge in the villa these two period. And here I want to be a little bit maybe radical and push a little bit the boundaries of what we call heritage and culture. So when the villa became public, the people that were happy for that were happy because, oh, finally there was this mantra, no? If the villa was private, then we had in the villa the evil private speculator that wanted to make money with the villa by selling real estate, etc. Now, this was the nightmare for someone. And when the villa became public, we started hearing something, oh, finally, we will not have a real estate speculator anymore. We will have a beautiful museum there. And I mean, I want to be a bit maybe unconventional here. I didn't know how to say, but I started saying, I mean, personally, as an NGO, as a representative of citizens, we are not happy about having a museum in the villa. We don't care less about a museum in the villa. For me, having a museum there is like having a dead place. And this is very, I mean, I'm not sure that the Ministry of Culture would agree, but I think it's not in this meeting. But this is also interesting. Because why? Because the Ministry of Culture, the only guidelines that gave for the future of the villa is that this need to have a fundamental cultural mission. But when you say so, I mean, what is culture? Is it a museum? Is it creative industry? Is it creative culture? Is it citizen participation? And I think that there where we need to define, you know, our role today as activists is to define what we intend for culture for the future. What is the culture of today? What is me doing a culture? And for me, the culture is having people meeting there and creative and building this creativity that Jack was talking about. Can we use the villa to meet there and invent a new way to be creative here, which is not the same that we can do in Paris? And this is, for me, culture. So we need to reinterpret a little bit this.
Thanks, Francesco. I know that you have then also a question for Francesco Carzolaio. If I understand well, you can do it later, because there is also
of course,
Maria that want to intervene. So I'll let.
I talk or I wait for the question?
No. Go ahead. You have.
Vale.
Yeah.
I think you said something super interesting, because I understand the point of view of that you said. I don't like the idea of the villa being a museum, but for me, this is not a problem. The problem is about the idea of the museums, the heritage, you know, because, for example, with the architectural heritage, we always keep, you know, but for example, the land is also heritage, and we destroy this type of heritage. So my question, the idea that I want to share is why can we start to understand the heritage as an experiment? Can we interact with the museums more? Can we touch, can we change, can we move this type of heritage? Because with the land, we are doing constantly. In Canary Islands, we are destroying literally because of the tourism, our land. And for us, this land is heritage because we have volcanoes, we have, you know, it's literally heritage. So why, if we can understand the villa as a architectural heritage, but in the sense of experiment, is a thing that I think we have to start to do in cities. We are talking about rural, sorry, but the cities are full of heritage. So I don't know, it's a question.
This remember me also another comment I would like to do before I will do the previous question, is basically how we can avoid that, because there is the other side, no? What is important is not to finish to understand heritage or cultural heritage as something elitist, no? Something that is understood only from some kind of people, no? So I really like the conversation we're having today, because all the time there is the communities there, no? There is this connection. So yeah, just to remember this, that for us, I guess, is really important. So Francesco, I don't know if you want to make now the question.
Yeah, but maybe Cenk on this point first, no? Because I'm changing a little bit.
Go ahead, Cenk. So go ahead, Cenk.
Maybe Francesco Carzolaio can also reflect on this. Francesco mentioned about the cultural heritage and what is culture, etc. Because it's quite interesting to think about it, I always think that siesta, for example, a way of living, should be registered as an intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO. It increases your way of quality of life, these and that, etc. Or it is already registered. I just checked it online, but I don't know if
He
it
was saying fiesta. I didn't understood the word.
Siesta.
Siesta.
Yeah, siesta. Because it is a type of living by itself. It defines another modernistic, production-oriented way of living, but another type of living extremely dependent on the climate. And this makes it's extremely geographically local, and at the same time extremely climate independent. So if you don't have that type of climate, then you don't need to have a siesta or something like that. I am not a big expert on this, so you know, but it reminds me that, because of course Maria talked about agricultural land and other living beings which are still shaping our way of living, and at the end, or let's say culture of living with us, or that interaction becomes that culture at the end, and heritage is that. So it comes to the whole question of Domenica reminded me the impossibility of quite static regulations and their abilities of not managing the heritage or these kind of cultural, let's say, items, because they are mostly static. They are mostly had been created some time ago, and they tend to regulate now or the future. So while we are talking about the heritage, we are talking about the past that we want to, let's say, crystallize with values which should be protected. But at the same time, time goes on, and we want to protect them in the future. But they are, or let's say, life itself has this quality of change, and that changes and paradigm shifts, etc. They become, they create this cultural values or cultural monuments that we want to protect as a representation of a specific period of time, specific type of living, etc., etc. So there is this impossibility for the static regulations to protect the heritage. And at the same time, when it comes to the intangible living heritages, it becomes more and more vivid. So maybe Francesco can reflect on this more.
No, I can read, meanwhile, the message that just posted Jorge Toledo. The challenge is to understand that touching and playing can be compatible with caring, or that they are themselves a way of caring. And I want to also remember that Amin was also asking if we can apply the same concept on some abandoned European places in Morocco and Africa. Of course, I think what we are seeing here is wide understandable. So you are talking, of course, also about museum. I think we can now, after the word of Francesco, we can also understand differently, but it's quite understanding, that we can understand also positively. I mean, I don't want to, we don't want to give the impression that there is, at least mine, I don't know if Francesco want to continue with a radical approach, is not, as also Maria said, against as the concept of museum, but maybe what mainly the museum bring, as an idea of static conservation, let's say. So Francesco, now I guess it's your really time to.
Francesco, me?
I mean, Francesco Cingolani want to ask you something, my understanding. But if you want to add something, Francesco Cazzoleo, before.
I mean, I think that Francesco, the other Francesco, can maybe react on what just Jen said, but I also wanted to put it a little bit in the center again, the speech of Francesco about the convention of Faro, because I also want to, I mean, just to give the floor again, no, to this convention, because it is quite important. And to introduce this part, I want to explain how I got to know about this convention. So basically, you know, when we started the villa, the point was understanding how to, let's say, convince the city council or the political representative to listen to us and to listen to the citizen. You know, this is not a usual, let's say, practice, no, especially in this area. And at some point, Valentina, my wife, which is also active part of the association, came to me and said, "Yeah, I sent an email to the Consiglio d'Europa, the European Council, and they answered me. And I was telling you, they will never answer you. I mean, and they replied like the day after with 3 pages of email. And in this email, they suggested Valentina to talk to Francesco Calzolaio about the Convention of Faro, and that's how we discovered, no? And so I want to read just very quickly, if you go to the Wikipedia and you look for, okay, no, I lost my, anyway, I lost the page, but the Convention of Faro, for people that doesn't know, says very, let's say, directly, this is about declaring that the participation of the citizen to the heritage and the cultural heritage is a human right, no? So basically for us it was okay, this is the pure gold, the golden treasure that we were looking for. So if we go to the city council with this document, it will be fine. They will listen to us. They will know that we are right. No, this is by law. But this is not how it works. Basically, no. So this is my question to Francesco. How this can happen? Because this seems like nobody knows about this convention. So usually what we do when we talk to the region or the city council is that we need to explain, you know, that there is a convention that the Italy signed, and for instance, I'm thinking about, on Sunday, we are organizing this work in the villa, and we are not achieving to have the right to enter by the sovrintendenza. So, how can this be possible? And which, do you have a document we can show to the city council which is signed, look, can I take your expertise on that, please, Francesco? So, what do you think?
Thank you, Francesco. Let me begin to interact with the question, with the other issue raised by all of you. Because you were speaking not radically about the necessity to not let the villa become a museum. So this is very correct. It's not a radical position. It's only a correct position. We have because the musealization doesn't go anyhow towards the community unless you have materials for it, because the walls need to have activities, and if you don't have tools to exhibit, you don't have a museum. you have to recreate a community around and inside the garden and the villa. I think, but there are, what is a museum? So Maria was saying something related to other kind of museum, and I very agree with that. I think that the room of the villa could be an interpretative center of the history of the villa towards doing edutainment, engaging many generation, many different level of culture of people on the history, not blocking the history with the past, but also opening the history till the future, till the present, and till the future you are building with it. So it's interpretive center, if you are familiar with that term, it's American, but it's very, very common also in Italy. I think that in general, we have, as like Cenk was speaking about siesta, no? That I agree. All you know that the Mediterranean diet is UNESCO listed by UNESCO, like heritage, like world heritage. So, and now the material are matching so much, and being a cultural value of the people, their history, this history doesn't stop in the past. I mean, the key issue, the key word is the longue durée. We have to find traces of the historical activities in what we see today, you know, and this is important. So what we see and what we do, like the siesta, no? We have done a project with the European itinerary of cultural European itinerary of vineyards on the enhancement of the recipe of seafood of the nanny around the Mediterranean. We were having a partner in Turkey, in Georgia, and from Georgia to Portugal. I mean, this is something that is related to the past, from the past, but is still living. And we, especially dealing with the Faro Convention, with the sense of community, we have to bridge, no, the old tradition with the new one, no, but also giving to the youngsters. Let me consider you youngster, because probably you are really young, but are very young and new the activity you are proposing. I mean, it's very important to place the profession of the future in the place where there were historical profession is a bridge, a necessary bridge. It's up to your creativeness, you know, the way to reinterpret it, because they are not opposition, they are not in opposition, they are not in contrast. Also, let me you know, we've done in Porto Recanati now a communal recognition doco of the Brodetto, the white Brodetto of Porto Recanati, no? That we have three kinds of Brodetto in Marche. Can you imagine how many Brodetto is the seafood historical recipe? And they rebuilt the historical recipe of the first restaurant back 1.5 centuries ago, place in Recanati that is still secret. So it's a narration, you know, but it's actual. I mean, I went working with them. We went to the professional school, high school in Porto Recanati, Loreto, and they were teaching how to do it to the young professional. And now there is a tradition reinterpreted, you know. That is very important. And also, for example, we in Venice, we were trying, I spent, you know, 25 years trying to build a project with all the stakeholders on the Arsenale, because the Arsenale is the biggest possible transformation site in the city of Venice, but these stakeholders are blocked. So we tried everything. And we just finished a European project that invite us to change the point of view, Erasmus Plus project, and we have done. We were stressing the issue of gaming. No, you know, I'm not a gamer, but I think that we have to change the way of looking to things and the way to matching different stakeholders, different generation of people. And so we produced a board game with a company that is producing that is very famous, the most sold board game sold 1 million of copies in 20 years. So it's facing the market of board games, but keeping the key cultural issue of the Arsenale on it. And then we have done a urban game, and now we are facing a virtual game. As I'm doing the virtual museum of the port of Venice with the Port Authority, and this is exactly like that. We are interpreting a business company in order to build a bridge between nowadays activities, because they are very focused on branding, to the history. And this is a challenge because they are very much interested to the history like a tool to enhance their running activities. And this is proper. So I don't see contradiction between the many issues, and I'm very proud we have young energy and an international network enhancing this energy.
Francesco,
yes.
Just to, because Francesco was really provocative as well. So no, you want to the last sentence to how we can with Faro initiative, how we can
Yeah, I mean, the Faro initiative, the Faro Convention is working because it's not prescriptiva, it's not, help me to find the English word, it's not defining a precise, formal way to engage the many stakeholders. So this is strength, because might be applied in very different contexts by very different people. And this is also the limit, because don't give you the hammer to knock the head of the people you want to open. You don't have that tool. But please consider that this enhance your capability of networking. So we cannot avoid finding cultural strategy to engage the others. So we have to be humble, patient, persistent, and focused. So also, and you might reach what you are reaching exactly mentioning it and working. I have done a meeting in many places, including the region of Marche region, because now on the upload of this platform, we stop the enlargement of the audience. We are 60 communities, I told you, and the other 60 are writing that, but we don't want to increase because we have to place them. We have to ask ourselves what we can give to them, because when they give us their information, what we do with that. And we are now discussing, and I send you a program for a possible conference that we are now discussing among us, among the others, because somehow now the structure is we have few regional representatives that are debating how to eradicate the implementation of the Faro Convention in all Italy, also dealing with the central government, but also dealing with the many Lido cultural heritages community. And but we think that there is we want to use our weakness as a lever. So we are bolder in the global network. But if we build connection, if we build networks, we can become strong, very, very strong, because we have a vision, we have competence. So what is important is to do networking among us, because you probably you are focusing in in 6 on the 10 issues related to the enhancement of the villa, and the other 4 are in the hand of others heritage community. And we are professional, but we are professional belonging to community, and we want to establish network like you are doing among yourself and with me. The union makes strength, and because
it's very useful. I mean, I understand your point very well.
It's quite maybe the best closing tendency, because this was even the one of the main objectives even of this event, Francesco Calzolaio, I think. So we take it as a, really good in two ways. So endorsement as well. So thanks for this. But in other way, energy to continue with this aim to connect. So basically, yeah. So we are now so thanks to for this closing words, Francesco. But I think it's time to close. And basically, so the idea was to close remembering what Francesco Cazzolaio just said. So we organized this webinar to start foster, let's say, because we started even a year ago. So the idea to work locally, global and local, also transversal. So as Francesco Carzolaio remembered, there are several communities in several fields, and it's really important that we can relate each other, be connected with each other. So we want to do and promote this at least at European level. We had also people from Morocco, so it's huge, it's great. So we can go even beyond Europe. So what I'm telling you now to close the session is that we are really happy to having all of you here. So we'll send you an email to all the participants. If all the panelists agreed, we can share all our contacts so we can stay connected. And the idea then is to continue promoting other initiatives that could foster and increase this connection. Francesco Cingolani, I don't know if you want to add something else about this.
No, thank you. Just maybe to highlight a little bit that we are actively searching for similar sites in Europe, to include them in European funds. So, I mean, as I mentioned in the chat, feel free to get in touch if you have, I don't know, an abandoned site with a community actively engaging for it. We can connect the dot and eventually submit projects at European scale. Thank you.
Thanks. So before we close, thanks. But not just a moment. So before we leave, I remember. So you can find volume online, volumes.media. In all the social network with the same name, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But I want to also ask you, the panelists, to share where we can find you. So let's start, Francesco Carzolaio, how we can connect with Faro and you even personally.
I give you my email and my telephone number, should I? May I?
Yes, of course. So we'll share with all the participants, and we also will share the site web, you mentioned before, maybe. Okay. Cenk, how we can find you? So this is also to remember you for the podcast. So people will hear this, and this is also a way to let them contact you and know you more.
You can find me on my webpage, nobon, nobon.net. There is an email which directly comes to me, and yeah, I am doing whatever you see there. So please, feel free to connect with me.
Perfect. Maria?
Maybe my telephone is too much, but inofic.coop with double O and civicwise.org, you could find not only me, a lot of people. So we are very welcome in these two pages. And also in Canary Islands, why not?
Thanks a lot. So just to remember, so Foro Italia platform.it, ofic.coop, and nobon.net. So you can find our panelists today, of course, volumes.media. So thanks a lot. Thanks for the attendees live, and welcome, and see you soon. Also for the ones that listen to us by podcast. See you soon. So thanks a lot for all your generosity. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Ciao, Cenk. Ciao, Maria. Ciao, Francesco. Ciao, Domenico.
Ciao, grazie a tutti.
Ciao.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.